quest for the next great innovation is our world's modern-day adventure. There are millions of people on the search for the next breakthrough in medicine, materials, computing, and more. I've spent my entire career on that great adventure. I'm trained as an engineer. I have a PhD from Penn State in energy and mineral engineering. I'm also trained in innovation and business with an MBA from MIT. And I've had the opportunity to oversee the implementation of thousands of innovations that improve the environment, improved worker safety, improved productivity, and delighted customers. And through that time, I have learned a few best practices. For example, to be innovative, you need to have the right tools so you can get the job done, like computers and laboratory equipment and copious amounts of free food and coffee. To be innovative, you need to have systems and structures in place so that you can scale and move quickly and iterate, like customer discovery and the stage gate and project management. To be innovative, you need to have a support network, people who will be with you through the ups and downs and the fits and starts of what goes along with doing things that have never been done before, like mentors and champions and investors. But the thing that I learned that was the most important about how to be innovative is not an industry best practice. I didn't learn it in a book. I didn't learn it from a mentor. The thing I learned about the most important thing about being innovative, I learned while I was sitting in the dark in the middle of the Brazilian rainforest. Now, I was in a conference room, mind you, at a research center at a stainless steel company where I was the chief innovation officer. And I had arrived there after many, many months from Paris, where I was based at the time, and I was visiting my team. And when you have a large global team that's all over the world, you don't get to see everyone very often. So they make a really big deal out of your visit. We had fancy dinners every night. I gave a big town hall. We had a weekend excursion. But most of the time, I sat in a dark conference room from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., drinking bad coffee and looking at PowerPoint slides with 8-point font and detailed scientific equations on material science. Now, while they showed me some really cool advancements that we've made, that's not where I got my breakthrough on innovation. That actually came during a break. I was sitting in the conference room, checking my email, and my head of research and development came over to me and said, "Angelique, I have an intern that I want you to meet, and I want him to show you his project." And I said, well, okay, I thought I was on a break, but okay, let's do it. So I scooted over and made a place for the intern. And he sat down, and he pulled up his computer, and he showed me the program that he had been working on. And he was actually calculating the value of the customer support activities that we were doing so that we could prioritize our efforts based on monetary value. And I asked him a couple of questions, and I congratulated him on his work. And I told him how important it was that he was doing that for us because we really needed to understand the value that we were delivering to our customers. And I shook his hand, and he got up and walked out with my head of research and development. And they had a lively conversation in Portuguese that I didn't fully understand. And my head of research and development came back in, and he was laughing. He said, "Oh, Angelique, Enrique was so nervous to talk to you. I don't think he slept for a week." And I was angry. I said, "Why did you do that to him? This kid was not on the agenda. He didn't need to present to me. I do not want people in my organization, particularly our junior staff, to be intimidated by me." And my head of R&D said, "Angelique, calm down. I've been working with you for over a year, and I know you. And I knew that you were going to give Enrique your undivided attention. You were going to ask him questions about his work. You were going to congratulate him. And he was going to walk out of that interaction feeling better about himself. And you behaved exactly as we predicted. And yes, Enrique was nervous to talk to you, But now, when he goes home, he has this great story to tell his family about how he impressed the big boss from Paris. You have given Enrique hope for his career. And I was basically pretty skeptical, and I said, I really think you're just saying this to shut me up and calm me down, but okay, fine. And we moved on with the rest of our day, the rest of the presentations. And it wasn't until I got home, back to the hotel that evening, that it really hit me what had happened. What my head of R&D told me is, yes, Angelique, we value your technical input and your strategic direction. That's why we set up this event for you and have you talk to us, and we share all of our work with you. But I also value how much you inspire my team just through your everyday interactions. And I value that so much so that I'm going to create opportunities for you to do that. And when he said that to me, that gave me hope, because I've always wanted to be the kind of leader that was motivational and inspirational, but I wasn't sure how to do it. I didn't have very many role models that led that way. From the start of my career, when professors laughed at me when I told them I wanted to get a PhD, through to 20 years later, when a vice president told me, Angelique, there's no way that I'm going to let you present our work to the leadership team because you're not attractive enough. While I have had great success and loved most of my career, there have been experiences that were marred by bad leadership and bosses who had make me feel undervalued and underappreciated, and in some cases, a little bit hopeless. So to have my head of R&D, somebody who I've worked with for over a year, somebody whose opinion I cared about, reflect back to me that he saw what I was trying to do and he valued it, that was a huge breakthrough for me. So I decided to start leaning in to those kinds of behaviors, to really focus on coaching my people and really focus on trying to inspire them. And the feedback that I got from them was amazing. But as a leader, I know that I'm not only accountable for the well-being and morale of my team, I'm also accountable for business results. So unless I could demonstrate that I could perform well and turn all these good feelings into money, I was going to have negative feedback from a different part of my organization, namely the people that were paying my salary. Now, fortunately for me, I was able to do both. My team grew the value of our portfolio by over 30%. They won honors at global technical conferences. Our work was being highlighted to the boards of directors, and employee engagement scores went up. And that confirmed for me that my leadership style, my focus on developing people, inspiring them and motivating them, and working on business results was something positive that was working. Now, if you don't spend a lot of time with scientists and engineers, you might think that this is completely obvious. Of course you have to focus on business results, and of course you have to motivate your team. This is leadership 101, and you would be absolutely right. But I can tell you that for some reason, these basic principles of leadership have not been translated to the technical community. In fact, I have interviewed hundreds of scientists and engineers around the world at various stages in their career, working in various industries, and I get the same kind of response that I had, which is that I love my career, I work on cool and exciting things, and sometimes I have leaders that make me feel undervalued, underappreciated, and sometimes hopeless. So how can that be? How can it be that this community that's at the forefront of innovation and at the cutting edge of so many things be so far behind in the area of leadership? And I don't know for sure. I know when you talk to academia, they'll say, we don't have time to really focus on leadership development. We've got to make sure that they learn, the basic technical things so that our bridges are safe and our chemical plants don't blow up. And I totally get that. And then you can talk to some managers and they'll say, researchers Advanced degree scientists and engineers, they're super smart. They'll self-organize. They'll be okay. I actually think it's something a little deeper than that. My observation is that scientists and engineers are stuck between two archetypes. There's the robot archetype, this idea that because we work on complex problems, we spend our time in basement laboratories or in front of a computer working on complex problems and speaking technical jargon that a lot of people don't understand, that we don't actually have feelings. And this is embodied in a character like Data from Star Trek: The Next Generation. The other archetype is that technical experts get to work on such cool things in great institutions and research laboratories in secret cities that they clearly just walk in, they do whatever they want, and they just tinker with their equipment until brilliant ideas happen. And that's kind of embodied with the Marvel character, Tony Stark. So if the technical community are robots who don't have any feelings and superheroes that don't have any constraints, then why would we need leadership to really help us? And what I can tell you, let you in on a little secret, we're just like everybody else. We have bad days, we get stage fright, we have to figure out how to get our kids to school and how to get dinner cooked, and we deserve the same kind of compassion and empathy that everyone else does from the other leaders that we work for. And so, armed with my own experience about how to actually develop people and results at the same time, and these insights from the technical community who I talked to, and knowing that they so desperately needed a new type of leadership, I decided I had to act. And so for me, that meant walking away from my corporate job, my apartment in France, my company car, and trying a new venture that would allow me to spread my message and maybe teach what I've learned to others. And that gets me to where I am now. A leadership coach for scientists and engineers, people who want to become the next chief innovation officer or the CEO of their own tech startup. And I teach them what I learned about how to bring innovations to the world and also how to be the kind of leader that I wish I had, the kind of leader that I was trying to become, and the kind of leader that the community I care so deeply about deserves. But scientists and engineers aren't the only ones who are trying to change the world. You are too. When you bring your gifts to the world in your job or in a small business, when you serve your community, the place you worship, or nonprofits, anytime that you are trying to affect a change in the community, in your family, in yourself, you are creating an innovation. So you're part of this great adventure too. And so maybe the lessons that I have learned might also help you. To be innovative, you need to have the right tools. To be innovative, you need to have processes and structures. To be innovative, you need to have a support network. To be innovative, you need to focus not only on developing your innovation, but also the people that are working to help you. And finally, to be innovative, sometimes the thing you need more than anything else is a little bit of hope. Thank you.